Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you're watching yet another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, your daily dose of geek news, product views, and answers that you can use. Like an answer to the question, Chris, how's that Vericoin thing treating you? I talked about it yesterday, getting into the world of cryptocurrency, and Vericoin became one of our patrons yesterday, although you might note we went from 867 to 866 overnight, so we lost a patron. Sad about that. Maybe one day we'll hit 900. One can hope. Either way, onward and upward with 866 fantastic supporters. I've got an update that I'm going to be sending patrons later today, including trying to make it easier for you all to, keep up with what we're doing. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I did record a gadget video last night, and I'm thinking about making it a weekly series. Going to get your feedback on that, as well as answering potentially a couple of other questions that I have. For everybody out there. I put a straw poll out on social today to get some feedback, and unfortunately the results were split right down the middle, which is not really helpful, but it just, says that people are responsive to the things I'm doing. So, today is a Friday. It's an AMA, Ask Me Anything. I'll turn on the screen again about halfway through this broadcast to give credit to those who, are patrons at a certain level. By the way, FYI, I think there's the patron hangout, which I believe is at a certain pledge level or higher. That's happening tomorrow, so be sure to pay attention to that if you are a patron at that level or higher, because I'd love to hang out with you this weekend, tomorrow. Potentially doing another live stream either tomorrow or next weekend. I'm hot. Is it just me? And I don't mean in like a physical kind of way. I'm just hot. First question today comes courtesy of Reese Langham. Hey Chris, I've recently been employed as my university's only tech journalist, where I'll be required to write articles for the university newspaper as well as hosting my own geeky radio show. Do you have any advice or tips? Could I interview you live on air at some point? Well, Reese, so, in terms of content, this actually dovetails, and I'll answer the question. I set up my first, what could turn into a weekly webinar series at webinar.chrispirillo.com. You guys, anybody can register for it, and I'll be giving patrons a 50% discount on that, where I'll be talking about a lot of these types of questions. But to answer your question, immediately, advice and tips in terms of creating content, know your subject or know your topic. And if you don't know your subject, find someone who does know the subject, interview them, get information from them, and, it's your job to effectively bridge the gap, really, between that information or that knowledge and the audience, or potentially be an entertainer. And still, you are presenting something to people who are out there. And every show that you do feels like it was the absolute worst show you've ever done. Or, and then, okay, it feels like it's the worst show you've ever done, and then everybody else out there says, oh, it was great. And then you'll feel like you did the best show of your life, and everybody out there thought it was horrible. So, inevitably, you can't make everybody happy. You have to, do your best every single time you press that broadcast button or you unmute yourself or whatever you do in producing the show. In terms of writing articles, start with, again, what you know. Start with something that's relevant, and it depends on what how you're approaching it. If you're approaching it from a journalistic standpoint, you're just reporting facts. Flat facts. Do not interject any kind of opinion. Don't, confuse facts with opinion in and of it, in the article itself. This is one of the reasons why I've said this over and over again. I am not a journalist. No way, no how. Could never be a journalist. I'm not objective. I have strong opinions, and I'm not afraid to share them. So decide what you want to report on, and then, refine that style over time. I always like, taking a bit of news, thinking about it, and then figuring out how can I digest this and regurgitate it so that people might understand it a little better or provide more context to the information that's being put out there. So, for example, one of the blog posts, today was why I think social media is broken. There's a blog post yesterday about what I think the Department of Transportation should and can do with the problem with distracted drivers being a big issue and killing people, if not themselves, then others. So I'm taking a certain approach, or wanting to take a certain approach with presenting what it is that I have to say, that I want to say, that's going to be a value for the people who are reading. And most of the people value me, not just for regurgitating information, but for giving my opinion, giving my perspective, And so I know that is where my value sits in this part of the marketplace. Information wants to be free, but knowledge is priceless. There's a difference between the two. Wisdom, may take a lifetime to achieve, but wisdom ain't cheap. The wisdom doesn't have to be expensive, but there's a value to it. It's not just that everything needs to be free. I mean, we're not communists. Well, at least I'm not, unabashedly so. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if you knew this, but the Vericoin that they became a patron yesterday. I've had. This is just fascinating to me. It's my first leap into the world of Bitcoin, so I'm a little excited. Across the way from me here in my workshop, I've got my Google TV, and on the Google TV, I've got the latest transactions. So I've received Vericoin. And in fact, during the live broadcast yesterday, someone sent me 1,000 Vericoin. Now, it's interesting because I think I'm not ready to retire with this, but I now have like 4,000 Vericoin. It's kind of fun. I don't know. I'm getting into it. It's exciting when I see that number climb. So my Vericoin key is in the video description as well as their link. So what's fascinating to me about Bitcoin, and I mentioned this yesterday, and Reese, this is kind of tangential to your question. I know it's important to understand, but I don't understand it. Still, that doesn't stop me from wanting to move forward with it. I got to try and talk to people who do know what they're talking about and can potentially be these guideposts for me, guidance for me in a world that is completely new. And from that, I'll be able to understand it and potentially be able to explain it better for other people so that they can catch on. So it's my job to take that information, kind of chew on it, and then spit it into something that is actionable or at least understandable. Because right now the world to me is I get it, but I don't quite get it enough to be able to better explain it to someone who really should understand it. So, know your position in terms of creating the content that you want to do, Reese, specifically as writing articles for the university newspaper, or hosting a geeky radio show. Take it where you want to take it. Take it to wherever your heart wants to take it. John Whitaker asked, "Hi, Chris. Now that you're older, thanks, a day older now, is there anywhere you'd like to revisit?" I'd like to get to sushi again sometime soon. That you used to go to play, when you were younger, like a Parker House or Destination. No, not so much. I'm not a traveler. I like memories. I record videos or take photos, and I remember traveling. That was great. Gary asked, "Chris, what do you think?" I don't have to start out every one of these things with my name, I know, but that's what they wrote. What do you think the new iPod Touch 6 is going to be like? Is there going to be a new iPod? I mean, it probably will. It's a distinct possibility. But I don't know. I don't know. Anybody's guess, really. I don't know if Apple's going to continue to produce the iPod for too much longer, if only because, not just use case for the iPod, but because of how the smartphone has kind of come along and pretty much replaced the iPod's functionality. Whether we're talking iOS or Android, I know some people don't want to buy a smartphone because they don't need the smartphone features. They just want, music management features. But you could get like a current gen Android device that's absolutely outstanding and not spend a lot of money and not have to worry about a carrier contract. So what's the point of having the iPod? Now, granted, it would be a part of the Apple family, but I think it'll be fascinating if, and remember, I hate rumors. I'm not trying to support a rumor, but I'm saying that if Apple were to go down the path of some kind of wearable device, that's probably where and when I say wearable, like something on their wrist, that's probably where the iPod line would end up. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if, what would be fascinating, this would be amazing, actually, if, I'm just thinking of, sorry, just like, haven't had a chance to process it as the thought jumped into my head, but what if the quote-unquote iWatch was actually the next-gen iPod? Think about how people or why people use the iPod. They want to listen to media, they want to digest media, they want to potentially play apps on this device, but a lot of people use iPods when they're working out, right? So they're using it, the Shuffle or the what is it, the Nano or the Micro or whatever, mini iPod, I don't know. I was never a big iPod fan. So, because it didn't fit my lifestyle. But I imagine that the future of the iPod is probably going to be wearable. I mean, I don't know. I don't. Then again, what do I know? But it just makes sense to me because every time I see an iPod in the field, it's usually people wearing it. They've got like a big ass wrist or armband, and they got it in there, and they're working out, they're doing something, and it's right there. And they're not using their phone; they're using the iPod. So it just makes sense. Apple just makes it more convenient and wraps up two parts of the market. And if you want more of something like a traditional iPod screen, well, they'll probably push you to a previous generation iPhone. Probably. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have an answer. You asked me what I think, and that's probably what I would say. At least right now. 5 minutes from now, who knows? Brad Winterton asked, out of all the stuff you had as a child, which one item would you wish to keep forever if you could obtain it again? I think I still have some of the things that I wish I would have retained, for the most part. Like my Star Wars figures, some of my G.I. Joe figures. I've pulled them out so many times, I'm not going to pull them out again. My first Star Wars figure, really my first action figure ever, the AT-AT driver. Oh, I need to show you? Fine. See, I treasure anything that I decide to spend my time and attention and certainly my money on. I spent 99 cents on this guy. Still in pretty good condition, too. Even though he wasn't necessarily treated all that well growing up. Not kind of knocked around. This is the thing that started it. So you're asking if I could get something back. I probably still have it. I really don't know. Objects are replaceable. I think I've kept everything, really. I'm not a hoarder. I don't collect everything. I just collect certain things. And there's value to them. It's not like I have a paper plate and I need to hold on to it because I never know if I'm going to need it again. Some people, that's a hoarder. Okay, there's no value to that. There is a value to this. It's probably still worth about 99 cents. It's okay. Let's see here. Cole McNamara. Hey, Cole. Thank you for participating in the Facebook thread today. Cole, and all these people, they're patrons. They get the priority for AMA. Although, speaking of AMA, I tweeted this out earlier, and I know no one saw it, or maybe one person did. I need to start working out again. And I use a workout machine that pretty much gives me freedom with my eyes. And I thought, what if, when I worked out every day, I signed up for a Twitch account and live streamed and then watched chat and interacted with people in chat as I was working out? Huh? Would that be kind of fun and different? God, you want to talk about the epitome of feeling bad, right? Like you're sitting there watching a guy work out. But I killed two birds with one stone, right? I don't know. I may give it a shot next week, answering more questions and engaging community across the board. Cole, how did you come up with the name LockerGnome? Well, it's an old high school nickname, nothing real fancy. I have addressed this question a few times over, but it's a story that I think never seems to grow old for some people. I'm both happy with that word, but it no longer means anything to me. It used to be tied into my identity, right? Gnome, I'm short. Locker, I was standing by a locker. It's the beginning and end of it, really. Became a handle when I joined an online bulletin board. It needed a handle, and so I became the LockerGnome. Giannis Regas asked, should it be law against spam mails? If yes, what should global governments do about it? There is some law that protects end users, but there's a hiccup in a law that is not clear. What does it protect and how? Well, or it isn't clear what it protects. How do you regulate this? It's impossible, because even if one country made it against the law, doesn't mean that it's against the law in every country. It's just like just because it's against the law in one state doesn't necessarily mean it's against the law in any other state. And I think that hang on. I've got a pending question mark. Okay, I'll wait until it's not a question mark. Someone vericoined me, but I gotta wait. I think it says receive, but it's a question mark. All right. Anyway, I get excited. I tell you, I freak out when this is happening. I don't know why yet. There's a value to this. So, how do you regulate that? How do you effectively take something that, well, you believe is morally repugnant, what I believe is morally repugnant, and put it into action? And I don't think spam is going to stop happening, even with even with the law being there in place. Because even though we have laws in this country, or the world, it doesn't matter what country you're in the world, just because you have a law there doesn't mean that people aren't going to violate it. People are going to violate the law. I mean, it just happens. The laws are there to theoretically protect people, to keep order in place, but inevitably they're going to be broken, and that's not an excuse. I'm not saying that that it's a reason to not do something. I think that you should make a choice based on a moral decision, your own internal moral compass. Is it a good idea? It's not a good idea. You know, why wait for a law to say whether or not it's legal? I don't know. And I think that's really something that is more annoying for those of us who have a better idea of what we don't want and what we do want. And spammers operate on the notion that they're just going to spray and pray. They don't care. It's cost free or relatively cost free, and inevitably they're going to hook someone. And so it makes sense for them to just put a whole bunch of crap out there in the hopes that one person is going to latch on to and purchase and end up generating revenue for the spammer. It's just, so you have to remove the financial incentives. If you wanted to do anything, you'd have to remove that. And how do you do that? How do you remove financial incentives in a global economy? It's impossible. I know Wicket. Wicket thinks that he had something more to add to this, but I just said that. Dogs. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. So Matthew Purcell asked if I was going to make a tutorial on how I make high and low end voice or low voices in the vlog, and then Cerulli ended up replying to him. Thank you, Cerulli. Yes, it's just Final Cut 10. I drag and drop the Helium or Monster audio processing over a clip, and that's it. Sometimes I do a little tweaking, but usually that's it. For Pixie's voice, I sound like this. And for Wicket's voice, I sound more like this. So there's a difference between what Wicket sounds like when I put the helium over Wicket, and a difference when Pixie's talking, because she's got a softer tone and a high pitch. So if she was talking, and then Wicket started talking next, well, that would be the difference between the two. So there's the real Wicket and Pixie for you. I don't think I've done it outright. Sometimes I mess up. I guess there have been some vlogs that I've published where I've messed up the audio processing. I audio processed the wrong clip. I've got to run. No, not right now. Don't go anywhere. Wait. Here's a list of patrons to give credit to, including our top patron, Vericoin.info. Take a look at this list. I'll be back in 5 minutes. No, just kidding. I'm coming back with a product view. Any Thor fans out there? You guys like Thor? Well, my friends over at Sideshow Collectibles sent me this figure, collectible figure, a 6th scale or 1/6 scale MMS 224 Thor from A Dark World. You know the movie. Here's an unboxing. There we go. Inside, get some movie credits. I want to work with Marcus, who is the husband of Lauren. We published the How to Cosplay video in this YouTube channel earlier today. She's the one who painted me up as Darth Maul and will continue to paint me up as other geeky characters. The poll has been posted for patrons to participate in, and I think the next character may very well be the Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker, if you were curious. So inside, or past that little piece of cardboard, is this. Marcus, I'm going to enlist him to help me do a video with this figure, talking about the figure, talking about my experiences of Thor, and maybe even his, and kind of do a collab together, and we'll have fun. So it comes with... okay, that's pretty much it. I don't think I got in anybody's way. This may be a part of a stand there. No Loki in here, FYI. No Loki. Go ahead and pull off the plastic. And, as a token of my appreciation, if he helps me do a video for this channel with this figure, in different poses and different hands, I'm going to give this to them as a gift. They get to keep it. Marcus and Lauren get to keep it because they're awesome geeks. And I'm trying to, expand the type of stuff that I'm doing. And like I said, expanding my team. That's also very, 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 very important to me. Another reason why a lot of the stuff that I'm doing with Geek Lifestyles is in a separate channel. And Chris Pirillo is just, me, Chris Pirillo. I can't effectively put people who I'm not personally surrounded by, or that kind of content in the other channel. Oh, hang on, this is weird. He's got individual hairs. This Thor character has individual hairs. Can you believe we have that many patrons? I mean, we have even more than that. Those are just the 25 level monthly patrons or higher, and we really appreciate your support. Cannot continue to do these kinds of things because it takes time. And so, I value you, and I value the time that we spend together. And by the way, if I do the Twitch live streaming, I'll have a patron window open separately to be able to give them a little more attention than everybody else. Because they're giving me attention, right? And everyone gives attention, and they're valuable. So, hang on, let me get this. Okay, I'm just going to have to keep the plastic on. I'm like, okay, here we go. Okay, Thor is going to do the rest of the show. Okay, maybe not the rest of the show. Let me kick in the screensaver here. You know I have to do this when it comes to action figures. Oh, hang on, let me get his hammer. Hang on.
Hello, my name is Thor. I am from Asgard. I know, it sounds like a very funny planet, but it isn't. And we do not call your planet Earth, and I have a horrible British accent, and I am obviously not from Britain. So, here's my hammer, and it's flying behind me. It's a big hammer. I hit things with it. I'm not going to hold on to it right now, but I will tell you that I'm going to let Chris take over the rest of this program. Look at the detail in my face. I am so freaking detailed. You can't even see my lips move. That's how detailed I am. Oh, yeah, and my cape. Oh, look at my chest. Look at my chest. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 nipples on my chest. More nipples than the average human does, and this is what makes me Thor. Yes, really. From Asgard. I'm an Asgardian. I just like saying that. It's kind of funny to me, really. Okay, I'm going to stop offending everybody out there and move on.
Oh, thank you, Thor. Hopefully that did not come to offend anybody. At least I hope. All right, so next question. What are your biggest and most passionate goals for the future of LockerGnome? Okay, so as a business entity, I've been wrestling with this for quite some time. Ooh, wow, this hammer's got some heft to it. I want to continue to produce videos. I don't just want to be in the videos necessarily, though. I want to kind of help elevate other people who I think are doing videos really well. So for LockerGnome to continue, I want to find other talent and elevate the talent. And I've always really wanted that. I really have. And I mean, of course, I'm still playing a pivotal role in everything that I'm doing now and will continue to do that. But I think that I like working with other talent. I really do. And, you know, in terms of giving direction, in helping them kind of get to where they're trying to go and giving advice and being a mentor of sorts. But, you know, getting there is going to be a challenge. So even the web, the LockerGnome.com or LockerGnome.net, you know, I'm struggling with what to do with those. I've had an idea, and I passed it in front of a guy who does programming on iOS and Android, more Android than iOS. I've actually secured him a few paying gigs, and I gave him an idea of what I would like to do for an app, and if only to accommodate what I think people like and what they want, and to further underscore my ability to work with you as a curator of sorts. And then being able to take that tool and make it available for other people who are like me, producing videos for a fantastic community. So my biggest goals are to put myself in a position where I'm not the only person who's just doing the content. I want to be able to facilitate and elevate you know, others. And it's tricky because it's not really something that I've effectively done. You know, inevitably I will warmly welcome anybody who would be a compliment for my team. That's the biggest, most passionate goal is trying to figure out how to get to build my team. How do I create stability? And you've seen it. I've been wrestling with this for quite some time. I don't want to get out of the content game, but it's so nerve-wracking that you know, ad-based revenue is very challenging to maintain. And I was so grateful that Nixie Pixel, and I don't know if you guys follow her, she's like one of the biggest Linux geeks that I know of. Geek, nerd, whatever she wants to call herself. She is fantastic. And she came out and she posted a video to her YouTube channel saying the direction she's going to go. And I understood exactly what she meant. I understood exactly what she was saying. You know, I'm trying to figure out how to get past that. And to me, my biggest value right now is, you know, my insight. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to leverage that. But instead of just giving my insight out to people who will take it, I want to target that insight for people who want to build it up for themselves. And so it's almost like it's a compliment to where I am, but getting there, I mean, it's a big goal. It's difficult to do. It's not easy. So thank you. Oh, John Prosser asked it. John is he's helping me edit video. He edits the TGIF, the OMG. He's helped with a couple of other projects that I brought in with sponsors. So thank you, John. And I'd say I'm most passionate about that right now. Although I don't know. Oh, speaking of, okay, yeah, I got 299.98 Vericoin from somebody. Thank you. 299 Vericoin. By the way, for people who are asking, you can't mine Vericoin. You have to purchase from Bitcoin and then convert it that way. So I still don't know the nuances, so I can't better explain it. There's like all sorts of like, go here, do this, do this, do that. I'm like, I was like, it's got to get easier. It's got to be like tap, done. Like PayPal, tap, done. Oh, and there's another incoming amount, a transaction from Vericoin. This is kind of neat. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know what it means yet. But I'm fascinated. Hey, as long as it's not a negative number, Chris Pirillo is happy. Choppy sounds, someone saying. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the chop. Someone else was mentioning that they were having issues as well. And it could be the fact that I'm running the Vericoin software and Bitcoin software in the background because, you know, it's siphoning away bandwidth. So I don't know if that's why things are kind of disconnected or discombobulated. I don't know why. Outright. So if it's choppy now live, hopefully it won't be choppy even after it's live, because this is the best way I can produce video, is live to tape. Because then I don't have to edit, because Chris Pirillo is not a fan of editing. Sebastian Halbig said, I don't know if you've already answered this, but are you going to buy a OnePlus One? If so, why? I don't buy a lot of smartphones because they're just kind of, after you buy them, they're not really valuable anymore. I'd rather work with vendors directly to get review units if I can. I've currently got a partner with Verizon. So, you know, I've been getting a lot of product through Verizon, which is great. And then I basically look at it, do a video, and then I send it back. So I don't get to hold on to any of that stuff. And I don't even want to. I don't want to hold on to gadgets. Gadgets they're temporal. I mean, they're valuable right now. This is amazingly valuable right now. A year from now, it won't be as valuable because a new iPhone will be out. And so I don't want to hold on to things that lose their value quickly, or I'd rather not. That's me, personally. Jennifer Vikra, I don't know. You have to correct me if I said that wrong. Jennifer is a new patron. I saw her name come in as a pledge. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Knowledge is priceless, she said. Best quote ever. Well, it's true. I think it's true. Think about that. I mean, what's the difference between going to Google and looking up information when you spend 4 hours trying to look up something and get the wrong answer versus turning to someone you know and 5 seconds later getting the answer that you absolutely need? That's the difference between information and knowledge. Information will take you a lifetime to digest and synthesize. Knowledge, bam, completely different galaxy there. Completely different. And those who don't know the difference between information and knowledge will never know the difference, and that is sad. It really is. So, let's see here. We're almost out of time. Let me go ahead and see if I can fire up the, I wanted to see if I got to everybody here. I did. Okay, great. Now I'm popping over to the Facebook thread. A lot of people participate in that. Every time I ask, and people say, are you going to answer? I'm like, I try. There's only just so much time of the day. Okay, I got to start at the beginning. Hi, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Why? Because, do you have any phobias? I think you know the answer to that question. Okay, someone asked if I have any phobias. Go ahead, tell Rigoberto which phobias I have. Spiders and the Dutch. No, I'm kidding. I do. I love spiders. No, it's an Austin Powers thing, you know? If there's two things I can't stand, it's people who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch. No, I love the Dutch. I love their cookies. Dutch people are awesome. I have Dutch friends. I'm backpedaling now. I meant that jokingly. Hopefully the Dutch have a sense of humor. Mason asks, does Diana know you like, quote unquote, her, referring to the movie that I referenced in the blog the other day. I talked about it, but, I wish she would have been here, but I don't know if she would have processed it the same way. And that's what I like, hearing feedback of when we watch a movie or something together. She always has a different perspective, and I value that. See here, a lot of people. Okay, Jennifer asked the question: what's your number one favorite app of all time? Of all time? Of all time? Web browser. It's as stupid as that sounds. For as many apps that are available out there, my number one app is either email, messaging, like instant messaging, or the web browser. It's my favorite app. So it's probably email or the web browser. I know it's a horrible answer, but it's true. That's what I spend most of my time in. So if that's not my favorite, I don't know what would be. See here. I'm sorry. I'm scanning through the open Facebook thread, trying to get to a few of these. I answered Eric's question last week about Lenovo being a good Windows PC. So some of these are repeat questions. Or some of these are questions that I can't answer. Charles Rich asked, what do you think of Ubuntu OS for laptops? I think it's fantastic. It's great. Ubuntu is... I like Ubuntu for the fact that it's always up to date. It's obviously open source. It'll work on hardware that isn't necessarily hardware that you just purchased, but you may have had for a while. So it's just getting better and better over time. I love its community philosophy. I like its support philosophy. I like the fact that they're trying to make Linux on the desktop more accessible for users. What are the negatives of having Ubuntu OS? There are a lot of negatives of having any OS over another. I'm not going to turn this into a religious battle, but if you're asking me what I think if you want to try it, do it. Isn't going to cost you anything other than time, and you'll take that time to maybe learn more, and you'll expand your horizons. Could be a value. Could turn into a career for you. Learning something new and taking it in directions that no one else has taken it before. So I do want to close this out. I try to stay right around a half hour. I got officially confirmed 100 Vericoin. So thank you for those two individuals potentially, because I don't know who sent it. It's so crypto, I have no idea who did it. Suffice it to say, I now have more Vericoin, which I don't know. I have to ask an expert. Does this bring me any closer to retirement? I don't know yet. I don't have the answers for that question, at least. And hopefully I got to answer questions that you may have had in your mind, whether or not you asked them. Thanks again for supporting in whatever way you possibly can. I do appreciate it. And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and leave you to your own devices, let you know that I'm going to be talking about software patents or just patents in general in today's What Would You Do or Q&A video. That's going to be a separate video streamed into this channel, exclusive for patrons. And so I'm going to go prepare for that. We'll see you later.